3 stocks you must buy today. Imagine you had $10,000 to invest today. You could put it into a stock everyone on social media is talking about. You could chase the company that just doubled. Or you could do something much more important. Ask one question. What business could still be dramatically larger 5 or 10 years from now? Because buying a stock isn't really buying a ticker symbol. You're buying a piece of a business. And that's exactly how we're going to approach today's list. These aren't guaranteed winners. No stock is. Instead, we're looking at 3 U.S. listed companies with powerful businesses, enormous markets, and financial results that investors should understand before putting their money at risk. And the first one is almost impossible to ignore. Number 3. Nvidia. For years, Nvidia was primarily known for graphics cards. Then, artificial intelligence changed the entire company. Today, Nvidia is one of the central suppliers of the computing hardware used to train and run advanced AI systems. And the numbers show just how dramatic that transformation has been. For fiscal 2026, Nvidia reported $215.9 billion in total revenue, up 65% from the previous year. But here's the number that really matters. Its data center business generated $193.7 billion for the full fiscal year. That's roughly 9/10 of Nvidia's total revenue. In other words, this isn't simply a company benefiting from an AI headline. AI infrastructure has become the core of its business. Think about an AI company building a new model. It needs enormous computing power. That means servers, networking, advanced processors, and Nvidia is supplying a huge portion of that infrastructure. The company is also continuing to develop new generations of AI platforms, including its Rubin architecture, while major cloud providers such as Amazon Web Services, Google Cloud, Microsoft Azure, and Oracle Cloud Infrastructure are among the companies preparing to deploy Rubin-based systems. But here's the part investors cannot ignore. Nvidia's success has created very high expectations. When a company grows this quickly and becomes one of the world's most valuable companies, the stock price can already reflect enormous future growth. And competitors aren't standing still. AMD is developing competing accelerators. Cloud companies are designing their own chips, and governments continue changing semiconductor export rules. So the real question is whether Nvidia can continue growing fast enough to justify what investors are paying for that growth. That's the difference between understanding a company and simply following the hype. And if Nvidia is selling the engines powering the AI, boom. Our second company is selling something even broader. The infrastructure where those engines actually run. Number 2. Microsoft, the AI toll road. If Nvidia is selling the engines powering the AI boom, Microsoft is providing the road those engines run on. Microsoft's advantage is much bigger than Copilot. Its cloud business, Azure, has become a central piece of the company's AI strategy. In Microsoft's latest fiscal year results, Azure surpassed $100 billion in annual revenue for the first time, while Microsoft Cloud revenue reached $59.3 billion in the fourth quarter, up 27% year over year. Here's why that matters. Imagine a startup wants to build an AI application. It doesn't necessarily want to spend billions constructing its own data centers, buying thousands of servers, hiring infrastructure engineers, and maintaining everything itself. Instead, it can rent computing capacity through the cloud. Every time that customer uses Azure, Microsoft has an opportunity to generate revenue. And AI is making those computing workloads much larger. A normal software application might require relatively modest computing resources. An advanced AI system can require enormous amounts of processing power for training, inference, storage, and networking. Microsoft is therefore positioned in an interesting place. It can make money from cloud infrastructure, while also selling software and AI products to the same businesses. That's a powerful combination. Microsoft's partnership with OpenAI makes the story even more interesting, because OpenAI's technology has been deeply connected with Microsoft's cloud infrastructure. But there's an important risk investors shouldn't ignore. AI infrastructure is incredibly expensive. Microsoft has been spending heavily on data centers and AI capacity, and the company has acknowledged that scaling AI infrastructure can pressure cloud margins. So the investment thesis isn't simply, the real question is whether the enormous spending on AI infrastructure eventually produces enough additional revenue and profit to justify the investment. That's what makes Microsoft fascinating. It isn't betting on just one AI chatbot. It's trying to become part of the infrastructure underneath an entire generation of AI businesses. And our third stock takes a completely different approach. It doesn't just provide the infrastructure. It controls one of the world's most valuable collections of data: advertising technology, cloud infrastructure, and AI research. Number 3. Alphabet. The underrated AI bet. The third stock is Alphabet, the parent company of Google. And here's why Alphabet is interesting. When investors talk about AI, they often jump straight to Nvidia or Microsoft. But Alphabet has something neither of them can replicate in exactly the same way. Google Search, YouTube, Android, its own AI models, and a massive cloud business all under one company. And the latest numbers are worth paying attention to. In the second quarter of 2026, Alphabet's total revenue grew 24% year over year. Google Search and other revenue grew 17%, while YouTube advertising revenue increased 13%. But the biggest acceleration came from Google Cloud. Cloud revenue jumped 82%. Why does that matter? Because Google Cloud isn't simply selling storage and servers anymore. It's selling AI infrastructure and AI software to businesses. Alphabet says Google Cloud includes AI infrastructure such as its TPUs and GPUs, along with its Vertex AI platform and Gemini-based enterprise products. Now, imagine a large company wants to build an AI system. It needs computing power. It needs models. It needs databases. It needs security. And it needs somewhere to run everything. Google can potentially provide many of those pieces itself. That's what Alphabet calls its full stack approach. And the demand is already showing up in the numbers. Alphabet said its Google Cloud backlog reached $514 billion at the end of Q2 2026. But here's where the story gets especially interesting. Alphabet isn't just trying to sell AI to businesses. It's also trying to put AI directly into the products billions of people already use. Search, YouTube, Android, Workspace, and Gemini. If AI changes how people search for information, create content, work, and use software, Alphabet already owns several of the platforms sitting directly in the middle of those activities. But there are serious risks. AI could change how people interact with search. Competition is intense. Alphabet is also spending enormous amounts on AI infrastructure, meaning higher capital spending and depreciation can pressure profitability. So again, this isn't a guaranteed winner. The investment case depends on whether Alphabet can turn its enormous AI spending into higher revenue, stronger products, and sustainable profits. And that's the real lesson behind these three stocks. Nvidia supplies critical AI computing. Microsoft provides massive cloud infrastructure and software. Alphabet combines AI research, consumer platforms, and cloud infrastructure. Three different ways to invest in the same technological shift. But there's one final question investors should ask before buying any of them. Even if these are great companies, are their stocks actually worth the price you're paying today? Because a great company can still be a bad investment if you pay too much for it.